Welcome to Makers International, a podcast of makers from 3 countries, 2 continents, and featuring 5 guys separated only by the same language. Here's your host, Richard Morley.
Hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, good times, whatever time it is, and wherever you're listening. Joined with me, as always, Mr. Chris Cute.
Hey, how you doing?
And Mr. Joe Whitaker.
You're right, Sam, yeah.
And I did actually have quite a good opener for Jamie this week, and it's completely thrown me. I've forgotten it, so I'll save it for next week. Jamie Page.
G'day.
How is everyone this week?
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Need a shave.
Well, I was okay till I've seen this update.
I need a shave.
Well, yeah, I do as well. Actually, it needs to happen. Very quickly, very quickly. I'm going to just run through our shout outs and thank yous as always. So this week's list is KSFWG, Steve French over at Wooden Stuff, Jim Dockrell, Mark Christopher, Andrew McQuillan, and Wacky Woodworks. Obviously, a big thank you and a warm welcome to all our live listeners this week and last. And obviously, everyone who's commented and liked and got in touch with us and kind of helped with the prep for this week's show, to be honest, across the socials. This week's podcast is brought to you in part by Yorkshire Grit, our sponsors. They're the Woodturners Abrasive Paste. If you want more information, yorkshire-grit.com. And also our good friend Chad, he's still giving away one of his awesome mugs each month to one of our lucky listeners. And don't forget, we did a recent poll and we asked a 9-year-old girl and found that not owning one of Chad's mugs does make you less of a maker. So it is official. If you want to find out more about what's going on with us, giveaways and whatnot, go to the website, makersinternationalpodcast.com/sponsors. Jamie, while we're talking about sponsors, do you want to just plug the giveaway that's happening at the moment, mate? Because
yes,
you know all about that.
Yes, we still got a giveaway going on at the moment. It ends January 27th. You have your hang on.
Are you choking a bit there?
Yeah, I'm choking on my beard. You have your chance to get your hands on a Heath Knuckles blank and a tub of Yorkshire Grit. When this goes out live on Wednesday, you'll only have 3 days left to enter. To enter, you go over to the website at makersinternationalpodcast.com. You go to the tab that says challenges and contests. Then you go to the Heath Knuckles and Yorkshire Grit giveaway tab. And then it takes you to a Glee map. You fill out your doodads and you are entered. I'll put my beard back on now.
From my understanding, that it's quite easy to enter that, and all the information's on the website. So if you're listening live, jump on that if you haven't already entered. And we've had quite a few entries to that, haven't we?
Close to about 800.
Wow, that's more than I thought. So excellent. Good luck to everyone
including 4 from you.
Yeah. I wasn't going to mention it live, but I've got nothing to hide. I was curious as to what was going on with that, so I clicked on the 2 that you have to kind of unlock to see what the other entries you can get are. So Jamie, you can kind of kick me off the list, and if you don't or you forget, and I do win, obviously the prize that I get is rerun the competition so someone else can win. Because not that I don't want the stuff, I kind of do, but it would be wrong. So.
So with 800 entries, your chance to win is actually probably nil, but, we don't want to ruin your hopes. So please enter. I'm just.
You can't win if you don't enter. That's the bottom line.
It's going to be one of those shows, people. I'm sorry. I apologize. Anyway.
Yeah, and not forgetting, we will reveal the winner on the show of the 28th, which will be next week.
Awesome. Good stuff. Chris, do we have any? I'm guessing you're going to have a lot of questions and comments from the internet for this week, but
oh boy, do we have a lot of reactions, questions, things to get to. But yeah, you know what? Let's go ahead and save that for the topic real quick. But if you don't mind, guys, I mean, we've all talked about this, and we want to take a couple moments here to from all of us, we want to pass out our heartfelt best wishes to a friend of ours, a friend of the podcast, a friend of the community, Joel Crawford and his family. I don't know much about it, but apparently they had a house fire, and they pretty much lost everything. And yes, everybody's fine, and they are insured, but man, that's a kick in the gut that, I mean, I can't empathize with them enough. So Joel, man, family, chin up, guys. I mean, we're here if you need us. All you need to do is ask, and nothing but the best for you. So I don't know what else to say. I just wanted to make sure that we mentioned that that Joel has been going through that, and I know a lot of people in the community know Joel, and if you're not aware of it, then Joel being part of the Maybe I Said Too Much podcast, that podcast may not be out this week because of this. You know, obviously, I mean, Joel has obviously bigger priorities at the moment. So,
For
Joel,
sure.
you have our best wishes, my friend. And let us know if you need anything.
Definitely.
I mean, I can't even begin to imagine what something like that would entail. That's a big U-turn to have to suddenly face out of nowhere.
Man.
So,
That's hard.
Not good at all. Right, so the topic this evening is it's kind of a hot topic. What on earth is going on with this YouTube partner program? Goal posts moving, bars being raised, people being sort of led to chase the carrot further down the field if you want. Where do we start? Chris? Anyone?
Well, you know what, Joe, if you want to start, I'll let you. I mean, we've got a lot of history to go through here, and this could actually turn into a 2-hour show. So, Joe, if you want to talk about it, go right ahead.
There is a hell of a lot going on. This first caught my attention because obviously I follow YouTube and YouTube creators over there, and they made a new blog post entry, and it was basically talking about the YouTube creator program. Now, for anybody who doesn't know about the creator program, there's also the partner program, which if you're part of the partner program, that allows you to monetize videos, allows you to add end cards. I think it's also annotations, allows you to schedule videos. So it basically gives you much more tools than just any creator starting the channel. Well, when people first started, everybody was considered a partner and you could use all the features. Then YouTube was having a bit of trouble, so they decided to implement a threshold, and that was 10,000 views. Well, I believe it was on the 17th of January this year, 2018, that YouTube made another change, and they've gone from the threshold being 10,000 views to now being 4,000 watched hours in a year and a minimum of 1,000 subscribers. So if you fall below that threshold, even if you're already in the partner program, you will be removed from the partner program. And of course, if you're not at that threshold already, you've got to try and get to that point to enable monetization. There was a bit of to and fro about what's going on with the other benefits apart from monetization, and it does actually say in the post, I did want to double check it, it actually says access to creator features. Note that your channel currently needs to be in the YouTube partner program in order to access certain features such as end screens and cards that link to associated websites, crowdfunding or merchandise sites. When the YouTube partner program eligibility requirements are updated on the 20th of February 2018, channels that currently have access to these features will continue to have access even if they're no longer in the YouTube partner program. So if you already have those features, you're not going to lose them safe. But I believe if you haven't got those features yet, you need to reach the new threshold before they become enabled.
And that unless I'm incorrect, that's the only part of this that they have actually grandfathered in. If you were among the people that had the 10,000 view threshold, but you no longer meet the requirement of 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 view hours within the past year, then you are basically, what they're not grandfathering is your option to monetize your videos. Everything else that you currently have will remain in place, but the monetization for you is going to go away, and that's too bad. You know, I wish they had just gone ahead and included the monetization for those people too, because you know what, they jumped through the first hoop. Why shouldn't they be given the second? I mean, but not my call, obviously.
Let me just sort of question that with you mentioned the grandfathering things in, Chris. Part of the statement they put out, it said and I've jotted this down as well. I wasn't sure whether it would come up, but they put in their statement, a big part of that effort will be strengthening our requirements for monetization, so spammers, impersonators, and other bad actors can't hurt our ecosystem. And then it goes on to be, how many people will benefit and blah, blah, blah. But my belief, and this is just me guessing really, that the reason they haven't grandfathered in the previous threshold, I suspect that threshold came about because of spammers and impersonators, because we've all heard stories of people having videos being taken, re-uploaded to basically new channels, and then monetizing them straight off. So I suspect their knee-jerk reaction to that was, well, you can't do it until you've got 10,000 views, and hopefully that will give you a bit of time to people to notice that and then have those channels taken down, because it's kind of not right with what they're doing. And that I think that would be my opinion as why they haven't grandfathered in the previous threshold.
That would make sense. And Richard, I don't want to get into supposition here. I mean, all we know is what we know, and that is what the statement they put out there was. So you have to decide whether you're going to take that on truth, faith, or not. I mean, and you're allowed your opinions. You know, I mean, everybody has their opinions. I mean, if you're looking for a conspiracy, it's not going to be hard to find one here. But that is what YouTube has said. So that is the facts as we know them. Do I think there may be some other underlying things that they probably didn't put forward? You know, I think it's entirely possible, but I don't know that to be true. So I mean, we're gonna have to take that on their face value. And
sure.
I mean, you know, you think what you want to think. You know what? My fear with this is twofold. What of this whole move, and I understand that what YouTube is saying in the long run for the people who are into creating content on YouTube for the long run. I understand the benefit of what they just did. Okay, but my fear is this: I'm afraid that there's a fairly large community of people that were almost at that 10K view level that they set last year, and then YouTube just set that bar even higher, or moved that light at the end of the tunnel even farther away. And I don't want to see people get discouraged and just give up. And I'm also a little concerned that maybe because of the threshold they've just put on this, that there are going to be people out there who may have had an idea to start a YouTube channel, but have now looked at it and said, I'm not even going to bother. And I'm talking, and these people primarily are people that are doing it for the monetization, because the only thing this affects is the Google AdSense that you are going to have, other than what Joe has noted as far as the extra features. But ideally, most people are looking at this that have a problem with it are looking at it from a monetization level. And also, I would say equally so as a morale level, because a lot of people set that 10,000K view goal threshold as a personal achievement. The money meant nothing to them. You know, it's like, I don't care about getting $100 once a year. It was a goal that I had, that I set, and I was almost there. And they just moved that goalpost 100 yards away. And that has me upset. And I totally understand the people who are of that mindset. I get that. That makes sense. I understand it. But, you know, it's the folks that and we're going to have to talk about a lot of this in different ways, because there are folks that are upset because of that. And there are also folks that are upset of it because they want to try to make a living at YouTube, and they're just getting started and they don't understand the premise of what YouTube and what they are doing. And it's not that they're ignorant. They just don't know how to look at YouTube and how to pursue their avenue, what they're doing. And while this can be very discouraging, and I understand that it is, the goalpost that has been moved hasn't been moved as far as a lot of people think. And I think that needs to be made clear.
Yeah, I think another thing that I'd like to make clear is, you know, it's easy for me to, you know, have a view. It was easy for everyone to have a view. But straight off the bat, this isn't something which currently directly affects me. I have made the threshold. I mean, I've been putting videos out since 2013, so I've got a bit of a catalogue. So,
yeah,
you know, but they might change it again, and that might then affect me. So this is something where I mean, who else here is or isn't affected? Just to kind of people understand.
I haven't been affected.
I'm not currently affected.
I have.
So right, okay, that's cool. At least we've got representation.
Oh, is it?
Well, no, I didn't mean it like that. Of course. Yes, Jamie.
Oh,
suffers.
that's cool. They kicked Jamie out of the club. Thank God. All right. No.
No, before you jump down my throat, viewers included, what I meant was we've got representation in the room here, part of the actual discussion, kind of live discussion for both sides. And presumably there's going to be people out there in the chat and people listening that are on either side of that as well. So I would encourage everyone, not just the four of us, but anyone listening live or afterwards to put in their tuppence as well. So sorry, back on track. So what does it mean to you, Jamie? I mean, obviously it affects you. You just said. So what does it mean to you in terms of maybe future plans, goals, or whatever?
We was talking about this before we went live on air, and I got advice to change my words. So I'll quote Clark Gable, and I'll say, quite frankly, I don't give a damn.
Okay.
I was right from when I opened my YouTube channel. I was never in it for the money, and right now I'm not in it for the money. I'm in it for fun and fun only.
That's good. And I have to say,
to meet people, even you, Richard, and I'm in it for the community, for the friendship, for the fun. That's it.
And you are Mr. Community as well, because you're all over the internet and the maker community and all over the socials as well. People that don't know you, I think, are few and far between.
I think that, Jamie, that's admirable. And that, and my friend and I, somebody, I think it was Alex 2Q mentioned on one of the posts in Facebook that it's going to be hard for people to be objective on this thing. And I don't find it very hard to be objective at all, because I am of the same mindset as Jamie. Whether I had been of this threshold or not been of this threshold, it wouldn't have mattered to me whatsoever. And it still doesn't matter, because I don't do YouTube for money. I don't do YouTube because I want to become, a very admired and big time star. I do it like for the same reason you do it, Jamie. I do it because I'm having fun and I'm meeting a ton of cool people. That's the benefit of what I'm doing. But let's back up here and understand that there are people out there who aren't doing it for that reason. And, we have to be considerate of their feelings as well. And I'd like to, and I think, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong. And if there's somebody out there in the chat that thinks I'm dead wrong on this, then please, say something and then we can discuss it. But I believe the majority of channels that have been affected by this are the majority, not all, but the majority of the channels that have been affected by this are newer YouTube channels, perhaps less than a year old. Maybe they're a year and a half, maybe less, I don't know, but there are new people that are just getting their feet wet in YouTube that have been affected by this. And, there's a lot of guys out there that have been working 10 months out of the year to get to this friggin' level, and putting out videos, and all of a sudden they get their throats cut. I understand that feeling, trust me, because I was there myself once, and if this happened to me, it would have happened to me, when I was 10 months into it as well. But I think it's important for people to understand why things happen, and it's not going to make you like it anymore. It's not going to make you go, oh, well, okay, then skip off on your happy middle way. I mean, but it does help to understand what YouTube and what we are all about is. And I think if we can start with an analogy, if you guys will let me, about what YouTube is and how you should view yourself within the YouTube world, it may help you kind of grasp what's going on here. And I hope this analogy works. It should work worldwide, but let me give it a try. I'll ask you guys, Richard, Joe, Jamie, name me a large grocery store or supermarket chain in your area. Name me just what's the big store in your area?
Asda, Tesco's.
Yeah, go with Asda. I mean, they're part
Asda. Okay. All right. So that's your grocery store. All right. Take Asda's name off the top of the building. All right. Put YouTube's name on that building. Okay. Now, Asda, the grocery store, doesn't make the products that they sell, do they?
No.
Okay. All right. So that, my friends, is YouTube. Inside that store, Asda, the grocery store, has products on the shelves, correct?
Yeah.
Well,
Correct.
of course, they have to. Well, the products inside that store in the floor space they are given is given to you and your viewers. You as the single content creator and the viewers that you bring with you are the product that YouTube sells, and they give you shelf space on their shelves to sell. Okay? So who's the customer? The advertisers. The advertisers are allowed to walk into the YouTube grocery store doors, look at the products they have on their shelves, and or look at the department those products are in. Because if you remember when we all signed up for YouTube, we had to classify our channel under a certain heading.
Yeah.
You know, mine certainly wasn't going to be under fashion and beauty. Mine was under how-to and style. And so the advertiser is going to walk into the how-to and style department, and the advertiser is then going to have a choice of saying to YouTube, give me one of everything. Here's my money. Make sure I want one of everything. Give me as much exposure as you possibly can. Or the advertiser can walk in and go, I want one of everything except those products that include this. And that could be the profanity. That could be the, what would you say, offensive material. They could say, I want every one of those except for this. And it starts to explain why YouTube does what YouTube does when you look at it in that analogy form. So let's take a look at YouTube and understand what they are. They're a retailer. They retail a product. The product they retail is us and our viewers that we bring with us. And the customer is the advertiser. That makes it a lot more easy to understand why they do what they do. It doesn't mean that you have to like it anymore, but it might give you a perspective on how to look at things. And I'm just going to throw that out there and we can carry on the conversation from there. But let's keep that analogy in mind because we may refer back to it.
Yeah, I mean, straight off the bat, my response to that would be, the other thing is, if, you know, it's not like we pay anything.
No, we don't.
For that shelf space.
No.
They literally let anyone walk in and put stuff on the shelves. And
Right.
that would never happen in the real world. You know,
No, it wouldn't.
Because
No,
it's
it
a lot
wouldn't.
like, sorry, basically, because like you were saying with that analogy about the supermarket, shelf space costs money, they've got to heat it, stuff like that. We're talking about YouTube, so it's storage space, electricity to keep that storage running, maintain the servers, pay the staff at YouTube. Like you say, as a creator, we don't pay a penny to YouTube to upload our videos. The viewers, putting YouTube Red to one side because that's something completely different, they don't pay a penny to watch the videos. Like you say, the customer is the advertiser. So if YouTube isn't putting ads on videos, them cutting their own throat directly by saying these smaller channels that I'm all just starting, you can use it completely free of charge. We won't make money off you, you won't make money off it, but it's costing us money to put your videos up there, such as our podcast. This 1 hour of footage has got to be stored on their servers. It's going to be demonetized because we haven't reached the threshold. So it's costing YouTube money. They could shut us down. They could make the decision, we're just not going to allow anybody to start new. We're going to stick with the people that we've already got there. But they're not doing that. Yeah. I think a lot of people have saw it as an attack on new and smaller channels, whereas I don't really see it like that. I see it more as a benefit looking forward in the long run, because YouTube will be able to go to advertisers and say, yes, we've got a smaller pool of people who's eligible to show adverts, but that means it's a higher quality pool. So the people in that pool should be able to earn more in the long run. So if you're going to be putting out quality content and you're going to take YouTube serious, when you do reach that threshold, it's going to be much more beneficial. Looking at the situation now, we was talking about our analytics, like from the first year we started and moving forward. It took me over 1.5 years to earn any money from YouTube. My first payout was $60. That was the threshold. It took over 1.5 years. The first 10 months that I was live on YouTube, I earned like $24, something like that. So as far as the monetary value being the driving factor, even as the size of my channel is now, which is approaching 15,000 subscribers, it's not viable. I cannot make a living from my channel of 15,000 subscribers. No. It costs me more money in time, materials to produce a video than I will ever see coming back from it. Right. So you have to take that into account. If you are planning on starting a channel, or you've got a channel in the hopes of taking it to these heights, then getting cut off at this small step isn't such a big difference. If you're going to get to the higher position of being able to make a living from it, what you've missed out from now, it won't even concern you.
Yeah, I mean,
I agree.
In some respects, sorry, Chris.
Go ahead.
Looking at it from the other side, from the kind of the inside, if you will, those of us that have reached the threshold and, you know, got over the bar, it's not about we've got over the bar, we're in, we're safe, we're now working to stay, because, you know, there are far, far bigger channels who have, you know, not necessarily not in the maker genre, but, you know, across the platform, that have been doing some kind of grey area stuff and some, you know, outrageously unacceptable things, who are massive, big names.
Yes.
And they've been axed because YouTube doesn't want to be, you know, associating with that. That's damaging their business, and they are a business.
Yeah, and that's my bottom line, Richard. That's the analogy I was trying to draw, and I've seen a number of comments, and not a few, and I may have even actually seen a few on our chat, where people have the conception that, well, first of all, YouTube is doesn't want what's good for the creators. They want what's good for the advertisers. And you know what? That's a yes and no answer. Of course they want what's good for their advertisers, but to say they don't care about the creators is malarkey. You know, the reason why, Joe, when Joe was talking about maybe you don't get to monetize your videos, but you're still able to put your videos up there on YouTube, is YouTube wants to be around 20 years from now, 30 years from now, where these big creators that you're talking about right now, that you're thinking, oh, they're only going to make their money off those guys are going to be dead, or they're going to be gone. I mean, any business that wants to remain viable has to feed itself with product. And remember, you and your viewers are the product. They want new channels in there. They want new channels all the time, and they're willing to support channels that show growth. But you know what? They're not going to support. Let me put it this way. Joe, you have almost 15,000 subscribers. All right. We're in the supermarket again. I'm the owner of the supermarket. I'm going to put Joe in the dairy department. You know why I'm going to put Joe in the dairy department? Because I have a very large area in my store to put dairy products, and a lot of people buy dairy products. Joe has 15,000 subscribers. People buy Joe. Okay. I personally, Chris Cute, I'm on aisle 16, bottom shelf. I'm the can of lima beans that you guys walk you through. All right. YouTube looks at me and goes, great to have the guy. Some people buy him occasionally, but he's not a high growth guy. And
Chris,
then I get, well, who the hell likes lima beans? Let's be honest. But I mean, but the analogy continues, because then I start seeing comments from people going, well, they should be promoting the smaller channels because that's how they grow. Well, you know what? No, because in the end of the day, I'm still a can of freaking lima beans. If they gave me an entire section, the size of the section they gave Joe with 15,000 subscribers, and put nothing up there except my can of lima beans, do you think I'd sell any faster?
No, of course you wouldn't.
No, of course I wouldn't. So that whole mentality about they owe me or they should do, no. You know what? You owe yourself, and you should do for yourself. I mean, I hate to be that freaking brutally honest. YouTube owes you and me nothing. If you want to make something of it, then go to work.
And furthermore, if you're going to be brutally honest, your subscribers, I mean, it's nice to band the number of subscribers around, but I wish every single one of my subscribers watched every single one of my videos.
They don't. Only about 10% of your subscribers are going to see your stuff.
Exactly. And that's fine. If, you know, most of my views come from people that aren't subscribed. So, and I'm sure everybody's the same. I think it's like less than 10% of my subscribers watch my videos, but I've got a different kind of channel to, say, somebody who puts out very regular video. I mean, I don't put that regular video out, but they tend to be the sort of things that a lot of people might be interested in long term. Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily classify myself as an evergreen channel, but I don't have very many kind of news flashy type videos. It's how to do this and how to do that. And it's the same information now as it was 3 years ago, as it will be in 5 years' time. So hopefully there's a bigger pool potential of people that want that information, rather than there are going to be channels on YouTube who do a video about the latest game release by, FIFA 2018 or whatever. In 2020, nobody will be watching that because nobody cares about FIFA 14 because there's another fight. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And that's about the type of channel. So the other thing is, don't get hung up about your subscribers. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like it's a nice badge of honor to think, I've worked this hard. But you can't just expect that number to continually roll out, because you've got to be putting out new content. And going back to what Chris was saying about, the guys in 20 years, 10 years, and 2 years, so, they might want to just go, do you know what? I've had a good run. I'm 30 years old. I quite fancy retiring. And I don't want to do that anymore. I want to do something else now, for whatever it is. They don't necessarily have to be thrown off. They could just go, do you know what? Let someone else do it. And that's what YouTube's got to do. They've got to keep the platform fresh for people. Mm-hmm. And that involves fresh content from the channels
coming in the door. Because if they don't keep refeeding that monster, then they go away. They have to. And so they do care about content creators, big and small. Trust me, they want to nurture you. And yes, a lot of the problems and a lot of the changes, and I saw it brought up in the chat, have come and have arisen because very large channels like PewDiePie and what the other guy's name is, I forget. Joe, maybe you may know. Logan Paul. Yes, they do. Yeah. One bad apple can ruin it and can upset the apple cart, because you know why, ladies and gentlemen, the meat department of our grocery store just pissed off our customer, and the store owner has to do something about that. Okay. And I am not going to stand here and defend YouTube and their practices and how they've gone about doing things, because I think there's a lot of criticism that can be laid at YouTube's feet from a creator standpoint, because they don't communicate well. First of all, you know what I'm saying? But I gotta be honest with you, having been in broadcasting, and if you don't think YouTube is broadcasting, you're wrong. If you're into YouTube, this is a broadcasting medium. It is television on the internet, ladies and gentlemen. And I've spent over 20 years in broadcasting, and I know broadcasting very well. The product always suffers when the customer is unhappy and they have to be appeased. It happens. It's not fun. I don't like it. A lot of times the way it's handled is completely wrong. And I'm not going to say that YouTube's not at fault here. I think they are. I think there's a lot of things they could have done and done better. And I think there's a lot of things they could continue to do and do better than they currently do. And that's coming from somebody who spent 20 some odd years in the business. But it's not my sandbox anymore. I don't get to make those calls. This is YouTube's sandbox. I'm playing in it. They make the decisions, and we have to live with it. So just understand that, wherever you are in that grocery store, I happen to be on aisle 16, bottom shelf, lima beans. Remember, I've got only so much that I can say that YouTube is going to pay attention to. But when somebody in the large produce department or meat department, the big seller, like the hamburger, let's say the hamburger in the meat department, when the hamburger in the meat department acts up and gets rude and the customer says, I'm not coming back, YouTube has to do something about it. We don't always have to like it, but we are always going to be the one to pay the price for it. It's just the way it's the way the business works, guys. I don't know how to tell you that any plainer than that. Yeah,
I mean, I think you kind of knocks it on the head, or hit the nail on the head a minute or two ago when you say about, you can't use YouTube as your source of income. And no. You shouldn't go into it thinking it, and it's been said countless, in the last 2 years, it's been said on podcasts, it's been said in interviews, it's been said in people's videos. What would you do if YouTube wasn't here tomorrow?
Yeah.
Well, eggs in one basket, other source, multiple revenue streams. And, people have been talking about this for a long, long time. If I only relied on YouTube, I would have been out of business before I put my first video out.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Because it's not even about just the video. Just take a video. You do what's involved for the video. You put the video out, even if loads of people watch it and loads of people like it, and it goes viral. You know, you've still got to, you're still not going to earn the same amount of money from that one video with the time you've put in, the money you've invested in your equipment or whatever it is you're making or videoing or whatever it is. You then got to promote it on Facebook. You've got to do your little teaser video. You're doing it on Instructables. You're putting it on Pinterest. You're putting it on all these different places, Reddit, blah, 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 blah. That's time as well. You're probably doubling your time.
Right.
It's not even on YouTube, just to try and get a few extra views back to YouTube.
But you know what? Yeah, and you know what? And again, we're talking about the people that are worried about the monetization aspect of this. And I want to make that clear, because there are a lot of people that are upset, like we mentioned earlier, that are upset about these changes because it's taken personal goals away from them. It's taken self-stature away from them. They were almost to the point where they could feel like they were, you know, could hobnob, or, you know, I don't know what people were thinking when it came to this, but for the people that were solely looking at it from a monetization standpoint, I want to say this to them. YouTube has not stopped you from uploading videos. YouTube has not stopped you from opening a Patreon page if you so to choose to do so. You may not have the end card that you would normally put in place if you have a Patreon, but it doesn't mean you can't in your video say, hey guys, I have a Patreon. There's a link in the description. They haven't stopped you from selling t-shirts. And let me tell you this. If you are able to invest in a pile of t-shirts, and you can, if you're in the 450, 500 subscriber range, getting, you know, maybe less than 200 views on your video per week, and you're able to sell one t-shirt at a $3 profit once a month, you're going to be making more money off that t-shirt than AdSense would have paid you in that 1 month time. So YouTube hasn't taken away all your options about how to make money on YouTube. They just took away, for those people, the option of them giving you money to do what you do. So if money is what you want to make, YouTube can still be used for that. I just don't, I don't know if people quite grasp that or not. And, you know, I'm only talking about the people that are interested in making money on YouTube. I mean, the rest of us, I think the majority of us, at least I know in this room, aren't doing YouTube for money. So it's kind of hard for me to go there, but I'm just saying the numbers are there. And you don't have to look at your own analytics and it'll tell you how many t-shirts I need to sell. Okay.
Al's Hack Shack made an interesting point. Over in the chat, he says, I think most of the people are bothered about the principle, not the money.
I was just going to mention that about the principle. I've got a different way of looking at it as well, from a slightly larger creator that's still being part of the monetization kind of thing. I don't know whether many people are aware, but YouTube have actually got different spaces around the world. So there's a New York space, California space, London space, Paris space, all that kind of stuff. Well, until you reach 10,000 subscribers, you can't make use of that space. Once you hit that 10,000 subscriber mark, you then get an email congratulating you, and they let you know that you can now book time at these spaces, use the facilities, use the equipment, all free of charge. Now, I've never used it. I don't ever intend to use it, but I know if I got an email through saying that we've changed what your goal is, you now need to be 50,000 subscribers, I would be gutted, and I would genuinely be gutted to think that I've reached that threshold and now it's been taken away from me, even though I never intend to use it and I never have used it. It very much is the principle, and I can see where people
it's because, you know what,
it's
because somebody had the nerve to tell you you're not good enough.
That's it. Yep. That's exactly that.
That's exactly that. And you know what? I would take that personally as well. And that's how I think the majority of people who are truly upset about this are taking it. It's like somebody just emailed me and said, I was once good enough, but, you know, so I'm talking about the people that had reached the 10K mark and then got kicked out. That's one part of this whole aspect. And even though they may have grandfathered in the tools and things of that nature, and Richard, I understand why your point, and it makes total sense why they would have done that. But man, once you're there, you know, to all of a sudden say, oh, sorry, you can't be here anymore. It's like somebody just said, you're not good enough anymore. And that's gotta be, you know, that's whether it means something to you or not. That's just, it's not let's just put it this way. It's not a very pleasant kind of note to receive. It's like, you know, it's like
being a John letter, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like you're in 6th grade and the girlfriend that you wrote the note to said, "Do you love me? Yes, no." And she came back, "Yes," last week, passed it back to you with that scratched out and it now says no. It's like, well, then I'm feeling a little gutted here, It's like, what happened?
That is something that the larger creators have actually spoken about as well. And I mean, like the massive creators, like getting close to 10 million subscribers kind of size.
Right.
They've mentioned like the first reaction to it was, well, you're not earning a lot of money anyway, so it's not really much to be missing kind of thing. But then they did actually take a step back and look at it, and especially the grandfathering in part about the not including people who have already reached that threshold. I can see that as being, it's just somebody's made the wrong decision there. I genuinely think that they've made the wrong decision. If you've given somebody access to then take it away is kind of a sly move, whatever the basis is behind it. It is a bit of a sly move. I can understand why they've done it. They need to protect their platform. They need to show the viewers that they am taking a stand against the kind of things that's going on. It does look bad when you've got the likes of Logan Paul that puts up a video. It's not illegal what he did. I don't want to mention what he did because it's not very nice, but it wasn't illegal. There's freedom of speech. YouTube should have taken action quicker. They have now dealt with it. He's still on the platform and he's still free to upload. Freedom of speech. YouTube's a company operating out of America, so they're very much freedom of speech open. It does affect the whole community, as you mentioned before, Chris, with the analogy. But moving forward, I think we do need to look at this positive because they've made the decision. What people say aren't really going to change it. I can't see YouTube putting out an email tomorrow saying, "Oops, we made a mistake. People got mad. We're going to put it right." That's not how they operate.
No.
They know what they're doing. They've done it, so make the most of what they've done.
And let's be honest, we're talking about Google because Google owns YouTube, and Google has probably some of the smartest minds in the internet today working for that company. I mean, Google is the #1 search engine in the world. YouTube, in case you didn't know it, is the #2 search engine in the entire world. And these people are not stupid. And whether they ever tell us everything they're thinking, I have my doubts. But it's, as you said, Joe, they put, we're not changing it. All I think the best we can do is try to understand it. It's not going to make it feel better. It's not going to make you go, "Oh, okay, I'm good with that then." Now, but it does help to understand the beast that you are working in, which is why I created that supermarket, and which is why I want you to look at things that way, because it makes it very easy to look at and understand, not like, but understand what they're doing.
Yeah, another way to look at it is kind of, and this is how I would genuinely look at it, because I view any AdSense revenue that I get only as money that is mine once a payment has been made. It doesn't enter into any calculations at any point until I get the email that says, "Check your bank, you should have had some money."
Right.
And that doesn't happen every month. I'll point that out. We'll leave it at that. But if I was in the position of a creator at whatever level, and I mean at whatever level of subscribers, watch hours, however long you've been on the platform, for me personally, I would continue as if nothing would happen. Now, bear with me on this.
Yeah.
Because for me, we've all heard people use the phrase, "The cream always rises to the top." That never changes.
Nope.
Regardless of any monetization rules, regulations, decisions, bars, or goals, it needs fresh content. And that, at any level, whether you're 50 million subscribers or 5 subscribers, you need fresh content that people are going to watch. TV's the same. Now, I'm not the best videographer in the world. I don't put as much effort into my videos as a lot of people. That much is blatantly obvious. But for me personally, and the way that I use YouTube within my overall business model, yes, I've got a business outside. You could look at that as I've got a job outside, just like many people have got 9 to 5 office, trucking, parent, full-time mum or dad, whatever it is, they've got stuff they've got to do. And YouTube is tacked onto that. Now, even if I wasn't generating revenue directly from any AdSense, that has for me led to other opportunities, because I'm doing the router courses that I do in Cambridge. That came about because I was found through my YouTube channel and my online presence.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get very many client jobs through that, but I have had a couple of client jobs through that. Demoing work for companies, asked to do reviews for companies, and the ones that I've done have all been, well, yeah, I'll do that because, do you know what, I probably buy that if it's as good as it kind of looks, and I think I'd probably buy that anyway. So now all I've got to do is, rather than go and do work to pay for an item that I probably would buy, I've got something else I've got to do in lieu of finding the money to pay for it. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So from that point of view, I can't really put a figure on what YouTube has done for me. When you look at it on paper, it's nothing. It's like, why would you even do that? What a time waste. It's like Amazon. Do you remember when the Harry Potter books came out?
Mm-hmm.
They were selling Harry Potter books for less than what they were buying them in for. Amazon was selling Harry Potter books for less money than Amazon were paying for them, and they had to ship them as well. Yeah.
Yep.
And that for me is what my YouTube channel represents. My business, for me, it's a lost leader. I put time and effort and money into it,
mm-hmm.
and I don't get that money back, but I get it back in other places from things that doors that has created overall.
Right.
And I
That's
think
a fantastic analogy.
And I think if more people viewed their channel like that, because I've heard so many people say, "Oh, I've worked so hard to get to this threshold, now it's been taken away from me." Well, even if YouTube hadn't taken away, the 10,000, if I got to 10,000, because that was my goal, as soon as I hit 10,000, 11,000 would be my goal, and 12,000. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like let's be honest, because if you're going to complain about this issue, and I understand the complaints, and we've already mentioned them prior to this, but if you're going to continue to complain about this issue and your focus is solely monetization, well, then okay. But if you're out there saying, look, the money means nothing to me, I feel gutted because the girl in 6th grade just sent me that note back, then I understand that. But what I would suggest to you is that you stop using the goals that YouTube puts out there for you to achieve something, and you start creating your own goals. Where do I want to be? This time next year, I'm going to try to keep doing YouTube, because you know what? I'm having fun. It's the reason why I'm doing it. I'm having a great time. And if you want to set a goal for yourself, then start setting your own goals and stop letting other people set them for you. You will become less upset, and you will probably, well, you know what? I set high goals for myself, so I will never probably ever meet the goals that I set for myself. But you know what? When I don't reach them, I don't feel gutted, because I forgive myself. Chris, I forgive you. Great, cool. Let's go have a beer. It's just not hard if you look at it that way. But Richard, if I could, I want to address just a couple things questions that were out in the community that I want to just quickly dispel, because there's a real feeling that YouTube is out against the small channels. And I think we've already displayed the reason. I hope we've explained the reason why YouTube is definitely not out against small content creators. They need small content creators. They need new people. But there was somebody who in a single sentence says, the problem is the messed up algorithm that currently exists that demonetizes the smaller channels' videos. I can't tell you, and I didn't write the person's name down who wrote it. I just went, okay, that needs to be addressed. First of all, if you think that only smaller channels are getting hit with yellow flags that say, and by the way, and first of all, let's clear this up. The videos that get hit with the yellow flag are not demonetized. They have been limited to the advertisers that walk into the department of that YouTube supermarket and say, I'll take one of everything in this department except this, this, and this, and this. What is happening is the YouTube algorithm they put in place is looking for this, 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 and this, and they're finding it in areas they shouldn't find. And it's not happening to just smaller channels. There are huge channels that have been affected and flagged by this new algorithm. So stop thinking that you're being picked on, because Joe's got 15,000. Richard, you're probably knocking on 13K. I mean, these guys put out videos and their videos get flagged. It happens to everybody. So don't think that it's YouTube out trying to hurt the new content or the, you know, the people that aren't large. It's has nothing to do with that, guys. Okay. Get over that. It's you're not being singled out and picked on by YouTube. It's happening to everybody.
That's the thing. A huge channel who I follow a lot. I'm quite a fan. The Philip DeFranco show. His content revolves around world news, YouTube news, things going on like that. So whenever there's a controversial topic that he covers on his show, that video gets demonetized. And he has always said that he can't trust YouTube to be his sole income. So he's actually got a video, I believe it's linked in the chat, changes. And he gives some really good advice for new YouTubers who are starting to try and make this a career, about finding other revenue streams, like Richard mentioned. Like, he says that he can't trust YouTube to constantly be serving his video ads. So if they could pull the plug at any moment, and if he hasn't got other eggs in other baskets, his video, God, I can't even talk. I'm sorry about this.
He's so emotional.
I know. His business will go bump, and all of his staff will be laid off and everything like that. So he has to constantly be looking at new ways to innovate, new markets to invest into, and just use YouTube as that stepping
platform.
Right. Jesus, what's going on
tonight? Yeah, guys, we're knocking on the door of like 8 minutes left if we want to keep this under an hour, and I'm not opposed to going over if we have to. But if there are some folks out in the chat that have questions, I encourage you to ask them now, because if we don't have any questions that we can address, then we're probably going to wrap this up. But I hope that we've covered a lot of what I mean, like I mentioned earlier, guys, I mean, I've got 5 pages of things that I have written down, researched, notes that I've taken, comments that have been made regarding this that we could cover. We could go on for 3 hours with this and perhaps not cover everything. And we're not here to try and preach. We're not here to try and do anything. I think we're just trying to here to present the facts as we know them and to try to help. And if we can help, we're happy to. If I don't know something, I'm going to say I don't know, and so will everybody else here. But if we can help you guys at least understand what's going on, that's about all we can do, because we're not going to change this. All right, the rules have been laid down. Sorry, but that they are what they are, and they're not going to change anytime soon. Now, it's like Joe said, YouTube's not about to go, oops, sorry guys, let's go back. It's not happening. So let's just kind of figure out why, and then at least it shows us, if nothing else, it may be a wake-up call to look at things a little differently than perhaps you were looking at them earlier, and then proceed ahead with that knowledge. And so if nothing else, it's an education, and I don't know how else to do this.
I'm wondering if this won't be. I mean, I'm trying to be positive. I can see just how demoralising and it can be for anybody, regardless of their perceived size and influence on
right
across the platform, not just for makers, but for gamers and for fashion people and vloggers, and for everybody. But I wonder if there won't be a slight change of, channels start to tack and change course just a little bit in order to keep going in the kind of the direction they want, to kind of coin a nautical phrase. We've seen sponsorships increase over the last few years. I mean, when I first started putting videos out, people weren't getting sponsored from people like Rockler and Triton and tool companies by any stretch. People were doing reviews of stuff they bought from B&Q and the box stores and all the rest of it. So I wonder if there's going to be a slight change in that direction. Maybe there's an opportunity there for the smaller channels to be getting work from other companies, like I was talking about, opening doors for people. I wonder if a lot of people will just knock it on the head and fall by the wayside because they get demoralized, because that can easily happen. I think the worst of it is it's kind of the unknown. That's what scares people most. It's not the losing the $80 a month, or even if they're just under the bar. It's the unknown. What's going to happen down the line? Does this mean the end of my channel? And I think in the long term, and I hate to make this sound like a negative towards some people and a positive towards others, but I can't think of another way to say it. I think it might be I think we might see, as a result of this, a kind of separation of wheat and chaff. And those channels, those individuals that are, do you know what? I'm not doing this for the money. I can see a bigger picture here. I want to do it because it's fun and I can help people, and I'm going to push forward with my channel.
Mm-hmm.
And there'll be those people which, you know, always see the glass half full, glass half empty.
Yeah.
And I would encourage everybody to have a think and make a decision and go, do you know what? I'm going to do this anyway. Forget the money. It might just happen. I've been doing it anyway. I'm in for a penny, in for a pound, and kind of go for it anyway. And hopefully, Jamie, that's what you'll do, because, you know, if you stopped putting videos out, a lot of people would miss what you have to say about scroll sawing.
Yeah. Can you imagine if this community can you imagine? I'm sorry. Can you imagine if this community lost Jamie Page? That would
Great,
no.
wouldn't he?
I mean, and Jamie is as much as I like to give you a hard time, man. Losing you or losing that would be horrible. Because I mean, think about that. I mean, I wouldn't want somebody to just. A lot of this has been real negative today, guys, and it's because none of this is really happy. But I mean, we don't want to lose anybody. And my concerns are, like I mentioned earlier, were that this may make people want to say, oh, well, then heck, I give up. And if you're in it for the money and you're just going to go throw in the towel, then okay. I'm probably not going to miss you anyway, if that was your focus. But if you're in it for the community and just having a good time, and you decide to go, I'm giving up, then I sure as heck would miss you, because that's what this community is all about. We help each other when we can. You know, and I want to get to this real quick, because I'm afraid there's going to be a lot of spring up from these sub to me, sub to you groups, things of that nature. And people, I just want to give you an education on these things. These groups and these people that you get involved with and say, hey, sub to my channel and I'll sub to yours, they're worthless. Yes, they may help you get to that 1,000 subscriber threshold you're looking for, but they're never going to give you those 4,000 hours in a year's time, because they're not going to watch your videos. If you think that if you equate your stature and your self-worth to the number of the subscribers you have, then I automatically feel sorry for you, because subscribers, as Richard mentioned earlier, mean very little in the life of a channel. If you have 10% of your actual subscribers watching your videos, you're in a good position. So I don't care. I don't care if you have 1,000 or 500. The subscriber count to me doesn't mean a thing. But that's me personally talking to you. I don't care if you have 5 subscribers. I really don't. It's like your stature with me is as good as your last project. It really is.
Another word of warning as well on that kind of same topic. I can see a lot of people now being more intrigued about the sites that claim like you can buy subscribers and buy views. If you're very close to that 1,000 subscriber mark, and you look and you think, oh, for $10 I can get 1,000 subscribers. YouTube is cracking down on that hell of a lot more. I've seen creators myself. I've watched channels grow instantly in a second, and then within a couple of days it's back down. So you're wasting your money. It's against YouTube's terms and conditions, so they can kick you off the site for that full stop. It's not worth it. Don't risk it. Put good content out and people will come, people will watch it.
I have been listening. I've been feverishly trying to pull some I do have notes here. Before we went on air, we were talking about our kind of first year on YouTube, weren't we? And I jotted down some of my analytics. Now, just to reiterate the, sub for me and I'll sub for you and all the rest of it. When I first started my channel, I put my first video out on the 8th of May, 2013. And in that first year, my average view time on my channel went from nothing, obviously, because there was nothing on there. It went up within about 2 months. It went up to an average on the channel of 7 minutes and 48 seconds. That was average view time for subscribers. Yeah. Wow. As my channel grew,
that's really good.
I mean, at the time I was like, I don't even know what this means. Looking back on it, that's insane. Within 6 months, as my channel grew, I slowed down my video uptake, because my channel's always been, I do videos and put them out when the rest of my business kind of slow. It keeps me occupied, and there's something going on in the background. So when I'm busy, I don't put the videos out so much, but they're kind of there ticking over in the background. Yeah, and that's always been the case of it.
Right.
Within that first 6 months, as my channel there was a bit of an uptake, new subscribers. I think I was up to about maybe 1,500 at that point. It went down to 4 minutes and 1 second. So it very nearly halved in average view time. Yeah. And as your channel grows and you elongate the time between videos, people forget about you. They move on. There's other people to watch. You get forgotten about. And it's really hard. And if you look at the lifetime graph, it kind of goes up like that, and then it comes down, and then it peaks a little bit, and it sort of goes up. Currently, I'm at about 3 minutes, just over 3.5 minutes.
You know, and I guess that's the best advice we could probably give. If you have a new channel or a relatively young channel, and you've just seen that goalpost, you know, pushed farther away than you would currently like it,
Aim for it.
Yeah, well, first of all, aim for it, but here's how you aim for it. Try to, if you can, and I understand, like, people have day jobs. They have families to take care of. They do YouTube on the side when they can. You know, but if you're doing YouTube on the side when you can, you know, keep your hopes and dreams in check. But if you're able to do, you know, upload as regularly as you possibly can, and you will get to those levels faster than you can imagine. But if you're doing one video this month and maybe 2 videos next month, then you have to create traction. People have to be able to depend on, hey, it's Monday night. Jamie Page is going to have a video out. I can't wait to see it. When you stop doing that Monday night video,
Said no one ever.
You know what, Jamie, I would have. But anyway, I'm trying to give advice. If you really want these 4,000 hours of watch time in a year, and you really want those 1,000 subscribers, then upload on a regular basis, even semi-regularly, if you can. And it will help, because it does help, because people, like Richard just said, they forget about you if you don't. And you can't let people forget about you.
I'll tell you what is quite funny is you three have all managed to keep your AdSense and all this, and I've got demonetized exit or whatever. And right off the bat, when I started my YouTube channel, I was a YouTube sensation, so I don't know what went wrong.
The scroll saw. You should have kept it turning.
That's what it is. You got one up on me now, ain't you?
No, everything was going well for you until you started doing the Queen.
Yeah, that's what it is. She caught on.
Because this never happened before you started doing the Queen, Jamie. It's your fault.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's a great way to wrap up the show. It's Jamie Page's fault because he's doing the Queen.
Yeah. Hashtag blame Jamie.
But that kind of leads in actually to, you know, a sort of a wrap up for the show. And what is, have we covered everything, first of all? Is there anything that anyone wants to?
Richard, we could go on for 2 more hours if we wanted to. I mean,
I'm sure we could.
It depends on where you want to cut the break. Joe, I mean, if you got something else you want to add, please add it.
No, I think it's one of those where we'll never be able to cover everything, everybody's opinion. I think we've got a decent grasp on the situation at hand.
All right, let's wrap it up.
Definitely. So be positive. Have a think about what your goals are and aim for those goals, whatever they may be. And good luck to everyone.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
What is, except for Jamie, what is every...
Because he no longer matters.
Because he ain't a part.
I'm irrelevant.
Brilliant.
I'm irrelevant.
A large grey animal with big ears and a floppy nose.
I'm sorry. I just, you know, if I got to take a
still
piss out of my will.
Attendance, may I add?
God, you know, Jimmy, I love you more than
I still
anybody.
spend more time here as well.
Well, you've got more time under your belt on the podcast than anybody else.
Yeah, and I still make less money.
Bless him.
But Jamie, you're more regular than the rest of us, so trust me, there's advantages there. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, that's the prunes. That's nothing else.
Oh yeah.
What is Jamie working on to get himself back to being a YouTube sensation? Are you?
I made a little winged thingy-mabob.
Was that the thing that you had on your lathe pointing the wrong way? looking like a
No,
propeller.
it was pointing the right way,
But not the conventional way.
not the conventional way.
Right.
Then Miss Robin Cacao Jacobson
Yeah.
sent me some apple wood, and I made a little mini goblet.
Oh, that's nice.
That's pretty cool.
That's awesome. And the people on iTunes and SoundCloud can't see this, but trust us, it's nice. Okay, it's nice.
Really nice. You should go to our Instagram, and I'm sure Jamie will put it on there.
I also made this as well, which I'm not overly happy with, but I made it anyway. And it was actually inspired by Dave Plum. And it's like an apple that's been eaten.
Oh, nice.
That's really cool.
All right, let me explain for the iTunes and SoundCloud people. Yeah, that's it's a green piece of wood on the top, a green piece of wood on the bottom. It looks like Jamie gnawed on in the middle. But yeah, it's absolutely gorgeous, Jamie.
Yeah. Well, actually, because I was listening on SoundCloud and iTunes, we could really do with you coming over to YouTube and getting us to 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 households. Start making a bit of money if you don't mind.
Yeah,
we'd like to monetize this thing sooner or later, so we'd have to pay for SoundCloud if you don't mind.
Yeah, I'm going to put this podcast in my name since I'm the one that only ever turns up.
We've got to get Jamie monetized on the podcast before his own channel.
Oh, just as a rub, that would be wrong. Oh my God! You know what? We're still way over the time right now. Who cares? I mean, Richard, you want to get into shout outs? Should we do those?
Yeah, we can definitely do the shout outs.
Let's give it to Jamie. Jamie, who do you have, man? I mean, we're on you and your green apple.
I'm gonna shout out the birthday boy, because it's his birthday today as well, and I need to realise that just before we came on the show today. Mr. Donny Carter.
Yes.
Yeah, he's the host of the Green Woodworker podcast. I won't tell you how old he is. 47. Yeah, he's the host of the Green Woodworker podcast. I had the honour of being in the hot seat on Donny's podcast, which was released on the 19th of January. It was.
Not only have you got 100% attendance on our podcast, you're also kind of whoring yourself out to other podcasts as well.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, it's nice to go on another podcast where you actually get respect.
What?
Yeah, it was a great pleasure to go on Donny's podcast. It was he's a hell of a host. So yeah, I can't thank him enough. Definitely go and check out Donny's podcast.
That's awesome.
Especially my episode.
Good for you, Jamie.
In particular, Jamie's podcast.
That makes up for the Maritime Maker show you never got on. So that's good for
I'm still going to get on
it. I'll tell you who I've been watching, and just because we probably ought to wrap this up at some point today. And it's our buddy. We had him on as a guest earlier, Dale from Wacky Woodworks over in New Zealand. And I tell you why I want to shout out this video. Dale made himself a slingshot off of bits and bobs that he had laying around the shop, and he just kind of put together a slingshot for himself, and he was out in his backyard shooting it, and I was like, man, for some reason, it's like, I want to make myself a toy. I mean, I don't know about you guys. I'll ask you, Richard, Joe, Jamie, how long has it been since you actually made something for yourself?
Oh, blimey.
A mini goblet and an apple.
Well, okay, Jamie does. All right. You know, Jamie, we could lock you up in a room for like hours on end, and you'd be thoroughly entertained.
You keep your fantasies to yourself, Chris.
But it's been a long time since I haven't made anything for myself in a really long time. And I watched Dale's video, and he made that slingshot. I went, man, I want to make something for myself, because what can I say? Anyway, so that's my shout out. If you haven't taken it, go take a look at the video. Maybe it'll inspire you to go make a toy for yourself. Dale from Wacky Woodworks it made a slingshot, so go check that video out. He put that out earlier in the week.
Excellent. I'm going to leave this one for Joe, although I probably shouldn't, because he's got a little tendency of stealing my shout outs. But anyway, I'm waffling now. Come on, Joe. What are you?
Well, I think I owe Chris a link, because I don't think I actually sent this over, but it should be in the description when we finished. I'm going to give a shout out to the Wood Yogi. He put out a video recently. He was making it's called them no worry sticks. And the best way I can describe them is a wooden alternative to stress balls. So I kind of mentioned this on While the Glue Dries. We've actually got a couple like metal Japanese spheres that have got springs and stuff that you can roll in your hands, but also you can get sponge ones and stuff. Well, he's basically turned these two little nubs really out of wood, put ridges on them, oil as a finish, and then you can roll them around in your hands to relieve stress. And he's trying to promote and introduce people to how easy it is to make them, but also to make them and then donate them to hospitals, hospices, people who've got mental health issues, poor health, people who would be stressed basically. So make them, give them away kind of thing, because they can be made from scrap. It's a great video, worth watching. The link's not there yet, but it will be by the time this goes out. So
get that to me, Joe. Wood Yogi is the channel?
Yeah, that's it, the Wood Yogi. I'll get the link to that.
I can't honestly believe, Joe, that you had the downright cheek just then to mention While the Glue Dries. So for anyone that's still listening and was listening last week, you might remember, cast your mind back a small time when we had Steve on. We didn't get a chance to do our shout outs, and I actually had a shout out, and that was for Gerald the Redsmith's awesome little key ring and pendants that he made. And anyway, I had a little time, and I was kind of going through my watch later list, and I stumbled across this channel I don't watch very often, as this cheeky young chap from Birmingham or Wolverhampton or somewhere around that part of the world.
Get that right, don't get mixed up with that lot.
It was I can't remember. It was difficult to work out what he was saying half the time, but I think it was somewhere around that part of the world.
Oh, brother.
And he was talking about the Wood Yogi and these.
Welcome to my world, Richard.
Anyway, Joe had mentioned Gerald's video, and I was like, he probably only mentioned that because I mentioned it on the podcast. And now it looks like I don't watch any videos, and I was like, So anyway, my shout out this week is Gerald the Redsmith. There'll be a link in the description for his video making these little fabric bags to put some rather nice key rings and pendants in. I haven't watched it yet, but I do intend to. So let me know how it is.
You know what? Gerald. That's a compliment, because he's shouting out a video for you. He hasn't even watched. Now, brother, that's respect.
And not only that, that is going to be a good video, because Gerald always does good videos. And
yes, he does. I mean, that's what I'm saying. That's absolutely that's just Richard saying, you've got my respect, and I haven't even watched it yet, but you're my shout out. Absolutely.
I mean, and that's a twofer as well, because genuinely, if you haven't watched the metalworking video, it's kind of what I think. It's one of those videos that would inspire somebody to get into metalworking, because it's quite a simple thing. So yeah, good on you, Gerald. That's a good one. Ace.
Oh God, Richard. You know, there's only one of you. Thank God.
Do you know what? I could have two, and thank God there's only one of me. Can you imagine if I met? Oh my God, that'd be an interesting episode.
No, I'd be totally confused. Anyway,
I was going to think about it.
One's enough. Thank you very much. Yeah. I was going to shout out your recent video of your visit to Springfield, actually, and the only reason I was going to shout that out is because right at the beginning, I noticed you got one of my stickers in your workshop.
I do.
That's pretty cool.
It's coming down tomorrow.
Just rush out and peel it off now. Excellent. I think that probably wraps up the show. Joe's going to have an absolute mare editing, but just think.
It's going to be a long episode this week on iTunes and SoundCloud. Sorry, guys. It's going to happen.
Yep.
Absolutely. So I think it definitely is time to wrap up. Hopefully we've been, what's the word?
Helpful.
That's it. Yeah.
Handsome.
That's an even better word.
Oh, we're better looking on SoundCloud. Trust me.
Yeah. by a country mile. So hopefully we've been helpful, put out some food for thought for people, and it hasn't been all doom and gloom. And like we said, stick with it. That would be my advice for people. A big thank you to everyone who's listening, particularly those that are still listening. If you are out there in the chat, thank you for sticking with us, and we will see you next week with something. I'm sure we'll cobble something together in the next week or so. So till then, you all take care.
You take care. And next week, by the way, I'll tell you, Holly Denny.
Yeah.
Look forward to that show because that is an awesome lady. You guys have a great week.
See you next week.
Take it easy, everybody.